Well, just finished an intense practice number 3. I didn't see you guys on Wednesday, but had 2 spider days and put the pads on today. You guys got to see a pretty lively, competitive special teams drill, something you guys haven't seen before, as far as just, what we're doing, how we're doing it, and, it's Coach Bronowski's deal there, and really love what we're doing special teams wise. The only special team that we finally lined up today was field goal. We lined up, near the end of practice and kicked some field goals, but to this point, after practice 3, we haven't lined up in a punt formation, haven't lined up in kickoff. Just working on fundamentals, which I really like, and just new philosophy there. So, but overall, 3 practices. Again, pretty. I shouldn't say pretty. It was extremely intense. I haven't seen our kids compete and just fight. I had a couple fights out there today. We won't have one the next winter. They'll be running gassers. But it was intense and it was back and forth. The first period of the day was that just kind of 3 plays with the 1s, 2s, and 3s, and offense took control of that one pretty easily. And then the last period of the day, we had a 2-minute, and defense took control of that one. And then everything in between was pretty much back and forth and great competition. So, questions?
Biggest roster you've had in spring camp with all the early enrollees and transfers. It used to be you'd have like 50 or 60 guys, a smaller group to work with. Do you like having this bigger group?
Well, I mean, you certainly love having a bigger group. I mean, we're working 1s, 2s, and 3s out there. How long can we do that? With the tempo and the physicalness of every day, we'll see. It's good to be able to go 1s, 2s, and 3s. We've had some pretty good, Chris. We've had some pretty good roster sizes. The last few years we've had more guys in every spring. I can't remember a time where we couldn't go 1s and 2s. And I would say probably in the last 5 years, at least 3 of those, we've had these. We've been able to go 3s because it's developmental. I mean, we're not getting ready for a game, besides the spring game, but we're getting ready to for the season. So you want to get as many guys developed as you can. Whether it's a true freshman, scholarship kid, a walk-on, all those walk-ons need opportunities to find out how much better they are. I always tell, all those young guys that, hey, this is your time. Fall camp comes around, there's not a whole lot of 3s. We'll be 1s and 2s and 1s and 2s. And so it's their time right now to show who they are, whether it's special teams, offense, or defense.
Tim Bell said the other day, this is the best time of year to be a football coach. Do you agree with that?
There's no question about it. We got recruits get to come on campus. We had a huge crowd out there today. You get to coach football. On Tuesday and Thursdays, this week, we got offense, defensive meetings. You get an hour. We've also had developmental meetings. All the young guys have their own little meeting with the coaches, whether it's D-line or O-line. So there's a lot of development going on. And again, especially with the new offense and some new special teams, it's good to have that extra time and development.
I talked to a couple players the other day, both an offensive player, Rodney, and a defensive player, Devon, said that they think the offense will be effective at wearing down opposing defenses due to the tempo. Do you agree with that?
After day 1, I'd say yes. I mean, I just think, it's great for our defense because they're getting the tempo. They're getting, a lot of reps in, and we're seeing, stuff that we see on a weekly basis. And I think that's, great for the defense. Other defenses will be ready for our offense because it's stuff they see every day too. So that's the negative to it. But it's like, who's going to be better at what they do? Now, I'll put my money on our offensive staff and our kids. And I think you asked a question on Monday. After practice, are the kids excited about what we're doing? That tells you they're kind of excited because they feel like they got a chance to be productive.
Javon was honest about Cruz Brookins. I know that this guy was like last year's a freshman, but Javon was saying he's made some strides. What do you see from him so far?
Cruz Brookins is a dude now. I mean, he's going to be a really good player. And we saw that at the end of the year. He started getting in and playing. He's smart. He understands the defense, and he plays with an attitude. I mean, he's a guy that you're going to see a lot of football, next fall for sure.
There was a drill, I think, like you said, I got my money on Cruz. What kind of stuff has he shown you as far as just raw toughness that makes him so competitive?
He's competitive, he's smart, and he's physical. I mean, he's a football player. Again, not to take anything away from our coaches, but he's got a lot of innate skills that he was his mom and dad gave him growing up, I guess. I mean, he's a football player. And there's some guys that are great athletes and they're not great football players. You got to teach them how to be a great football player. He's a guy that's a great athlete that's also a really good football player, and he plays like it for a young guy.
With this week of spring practice over with, which position group or area of the team do you think has made the biggest jump since the fall?
I would say just the position. I would say our offense, based on how they're playing, what they're doing, and the different attitude in those rooms. I would just pick that offense. Defense is the same as far as what we're doing. You got tweaks here and there defensively, but I would say the offense and just the attitude, just the overall feeling that you get out of that room right now. In what they showed on the field today, fighting back. There were some things they did against it. Our defense, that doesn't normally happen. Now, as a head coach, you're going, okay, is our defense bad, or is it just getting spread out and they're doing some good things? So we'll see.
There was a lot of talk last year about the 4 freshmen wide receivers. Bringing those guys, other than Kenny, stepping up this spring.
Yeah, I mean, Kenny's been good, as you said, but Lamar Seymour's been really good. Zion's had he had a nice catch early. And matter of fact, I think you guys might have been there maybe, or was that the next period? Zion had a nice deep ball catch today. Had one the other day, 2 in one-on-one, so not in the team period. Lamar, and then Izzy Polk is coming along. Just got to get him a little bit more intense, but he's got a ton of talent. He's going to be really good. Again, without seeing what he did today in pads, we'll see.
Last year you lost your 2 starting safeties and all your corners came back, and this year it's kind of the opposite. Losing your corners but getting back. These are the 3 safeties that played the most snaps last year. How do you feel like those guys have improved, Javon, Donovan, and PJ, and how do you feel like their communication is in the back end of the defense?
It's 100 times better, Amanda. I mean, they're so much better back there, and it helps. Last year, post-spring ball, I remember asking MJ, AJ, who's the starting safeties, and they said Javon McIntyre, every one of them. They said that. I said, who's the second safety? Who's the other safety? Coach, we don't have one yet. That's how it was coming out of post-spring ball. So, they trusted Javon to make the call. Now, I think they trust all those guys, even Cruz, Brookins. I mean, Jesse Anderson's coming along as well. He shows some spurts out there. If we can just keep him, in line and staying in his lane, he's a talented kid as well from Cardinal Gibbons down in Florida. So Jesse Anderson's got a chance as well. We just got to keep bringing him along and making sure he's paying attention to the details. So that room, if I asked them now, they would be confused. Like, Coach, they're all good. Again, now they're building that corner spot. Now I'm going to be asking those guys after spring ball, hey, who's our top 2 corners? Who's the next 2? Because I say this all the time, our players pick the starters. I don't pick them. It should be very clear who the starters are. And if it's not clear, then okay, then I'll pick them. But it should be very clear. Everybody will know who those guys are as long as they're in live competition.
Are you able to experiment with the receivers and the helmets this way? You use that in the fall, right?
Yeah, we use those helmets in the fall too, Jerry.
I mean,
You're talking the helmet.
Yeah.
Mics, yeah, not in the receiver. So, new rule with the green dot, just like the National Football League, is 1 person on offense, 1 on defense. So, I would say most people around the country are going to put, their Mike linebacker and their quarterback in those things. So the receivers won't, there'll still be a little bit of signals going on, from the sideline because it depends on how fast you want to go and what you're doing. But I mean, if an offense is huddling and the defense is huddling, one guy can tell everybody what to do, and there should be no signal, but you can just talk to them. But if it's a tempo, then then they're obviously going to use those signals.
You got technology now, I hear.
We could. We decided not to. We're going to use it for the defense next week. We're going to let our offense learn all the signals, because we think it's important. You never know when those things go down. We want our offense to learn the signals. We're going to use it on defense, and then we'll use it next fall for sure by everybody.
You feel like it's going to be like kind of maybe not revolutionary, but very important development for the game of college football that you guys can do that now? I mean, you guys used to have to run players onto the field, and now it's...
We used to have, quarterback come over to the sideline and be like, hey, okay. I mean, we've done a little bit of everything. So I think it helps. I mean, with all the signal stealing, the stuff that's going on, throughout the country, and it's going on. It's definitely going on. It's going to help us. I think there'll still be, people trying to steal some stuff. Everybody's going to try to steal what they can. Got to make sure all those devices and the wavelengths you're on, all that stuff's secure. You know, it'll be next person will begin someone from the Navy come in and see if they can steal and jump on the line and listen to you now. That's even easier if you can listen to them. So, you know, how secure are all those things? I don't know. Hopefully, you know, the good thing is we're doing it like the National Football League. So, you know, the way the NFL does it, we should, you know, hopefully be able to do the same thing. Same way.
Will tempo negate sign stealing a little bit? That just, if you guys are going faster, it's just not time for them to steal the sign and process it and communicate?
Yeah. You guys will probably remember after I tell you this. In the past, I've said this. Who steals the most signals? This is class. This is, you know, football 101. Who steals the most signals, offense or defense? Okay. Offense does, okay? 'Cause you lose, okay? The offense steals them because what does an offense do? They get lined up really quick. They make the defense coordinator get the call real quick, okay? They look at the defense coordinator. They get what they see the signal, okay? If you don't have, you know, just more than one, or they try to figure out who that guy is and they know already going into the game. Then they look to the sideline and say, EJ, you know, coordinator or someone up in the box said, hey, this is what we're going to do. Go back, and then they get to run a play that's good versus that defense. Defense has no time to steal signals. I mean, you can't steal them. You know, and again, could you, you know, possibly steal? And it sounds like some people are stealing. You know, they get the signal. Hey, it's pass, watch the pass. But you know, it's really hard on defense to get anything. But offensively, who controls the tempo of the game? Who controls the tempo of the game? That's another question for you guys. The offense, right? The offense controls the tempo, Amanda, right? They can go, how many seconds do they normally get? 40 seconds to snap the ball. So they can get up, lined up real quick, steal your signals, slow it down, let's get ourselves in a good play, and let's have success. And we'll do some of that. We won't be stealing signals, but we'll be trying to go fast and try to, you know, visually see what they look like. Were they blitzing there? Are they going to play coverage? Look like cover two? Okay, let's go with this. So we'll do some of the same stuff.
How do you see this guy grow since being a standout freshman?
Woo, that's why he's in here today. You know, Ryland's been outstanding. I think if I asked most of the guys out there, hey, who's our starting corners? You know, I think the first name would come out of his mouth would be Ryland. He wants to be on ESPN someday, so we'll see if you guys can test him on that, you know, when he comes up next. But, you know, he's come a long way. I mean, he's learned from some good guys out there. He's been, you know, the great thing about Ryland is he's been patient. You know, you had, you know, those 3 really good corners last year, and he's stayed patient. He never got down. He was never in my office whining like, Coach, when am I going to play? He just trusted he's trusted the process throughout it, and you know, that tells you what kind of family he's got. He's got an outstanding family that raised him the right way.
It was reported yesterday they're moving signing day up to the Wednesday before the conference championship games.
Yeah.
Kind of eliminates all that time of in-home visits and everything running up to signing day, right?
Yeah. It's you know, I don't think it's a done deal yet. You know, I know across the country, I believe, if my figures are right, that we got voted, you know, I think it was 8-1 to keep it either in December or move it up to June. And the ACC, I can tell you for sure, being on all our ACC head coaches calls, and had another one Wednesday, I think at noon, this past Wednesday at noon. But I don't think it's a done deal. You know, it's another great question for Heather Like, who's, you know, the chair of the FOC. But I don't think it's a done deal yet. You know, to me, our coaches' calendar is messed up right now. And you know, back in the old days, Chris, you know, I don't know if you're too young or not. Jerry knows for sure. Just kidding, Jerry. It used to be back in the day, you'd official visit kids in December and January, and then we signed them in February, right? You know, again, official visit them, go visit them in schools in December and January, sign them then. Now we bring them on campus in May and June, and then we wait 5 months and sign them in December. Like, it doesn't make any sense. The calendar is all whacked out. So, you know, 90% of the country wants to, everybody got their hand up, we're in on this, really wants to do it in June. So I think there's a good chance it could happen the last Wednesday in June, which I think the 26th of June would be the date. So you visit them in May and June, sign them then, and then, you know, again, will all of them sign? If they're smart, they will, because the transfer portal opens up later on. People want to move it up before the transfer portal, which is kind of the reason to move it up to November. And to me, it just makes no sense at all. And the reason I hate it in November, I would rather, don't change it at all, just leave it in December, is because, you know, 5 months goes by, okay, we visit them in June, 5 months goes by. To me, it's important for me to go in those homes of those kids after 5 months and remind them why they committed to Pitt. And to me, that's huge. And not to do that, I don't know what will happen on signing day. So mark that down, write that down, Jerry. I don't know what will happen on signing day when you have 5 months where you've never seen these kids. Maybe they came up for a game if you're lucky, but you're not, you're not around them. So I think that's something that we're going to have to pay attention to. And again, it should either be in June or it should be left where it is right now and not change at all. So I think a lot of coaches in the country feel that way. And hopefully they'll get it right, because if they mess it up, it could be really ugly. And they've messed a lot of things up. So this is something we can control as commissioners. We can control as head coaches, kind of. And the football oversight committee should be able to control it as well and get it right. Take your time and get it right.
I know it's early, but how has Nate looked, and is any other quarterback challenging him so far?
Mm-hmm. Quarterback question. Nate's he's looked good overall. He's leading, but the other guys are challenging every day. I mean, you look at, Christian is challenging. Eli Holstein has done a nice job. He's been a little, dinged up just from winter workouts and all that, but he's about 90%, but he's out there doing everything because he's tough. But, he's pushing as well. So it's, and then Ty's working hard at it. Again, he's just a baby, and Duggar's doing a nice job as well. So just for freshmen.
The first week of spring practice, is the competition level where you want it to be?
Is what level?
The competition level between the players.
Oh, there was competition out there today now. I mean, you saw the competition in special teams, but it was like that the whole way. I had to calm them down and blow the whistle a few extra times and break it up. Felt like, the referee out there, breaking up different things. But they're intense and passionate about what they're doing right now. I like that. We just got to contain it and control it. Control your emotions. I didn't have any problem with Terrence, though, or Ryland. Controlled.